Okay, before we continue on to the reactivity of amines, I just wanted to summarize all of the different methods we can use to prepare amines. And we've got a variety of different ways to prepare primary amines. And we saw that if you have an amide, it's pretty easily to prepare a primary amine by treating it with LAH followed by quenching with water. And if you do that, you can completely remove that CO double bond to get to your primary amine. We can also do the same thing with nitriles using LAH followed by our quenching with water. Both of these work quite well. We saw these in the carboxylic acid chapter. All right, the new method that we saw was the Gabriel synthesis, where we start with this starting material called phthalimide. And to get to our primary amine, we first need to treat this phthalimide with base. So I'm just going to use sodium hydroxide here. It's one of the easiest, cheapest bases to use, followed by our alkyl halide. That's where the R group comes from here. And then in step 3, we need to hydrolyze everything apart. And to do this, you can use either acid or hydrazine. Like I said, hydrazine is going to be the faster of the two. All right, so we've got those methods. We also saw that we can create a primary amine by reacting an alkyl halide with sodium azide as well. So you can react this with NaN3, that's sodium azide, followed by lithium aluminum hydride, followed by water. If you don't want to use the lithium aluminum hydride, the other method that works well is catalytic palladium and hydrogen. Right? The other method that we saw that's arguably the most diverse method is the reductive amination. Right? So with reductive amination, you can start with an aldehyde or a ketone. And to make your primary amine, all you need to do is treat this with catalytic acid. Your amine source, in this case, because we're making a primary amine, we're going to use ammonia. And then we're going to use sodium cyanoborohydride. And by doing this, we can get to this primary amine, which can then be further functionalized later on. But any of these methods work well. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. The main thing to remember is you can't just do a simple SN2 reaction with like methyl iodide and ammonia. Otherwise, you run into problems with overalkylation. All right? If we want to get to a secondary amine, so right now we're at our primary amine. If we want to get to a secondary amine, really the only way our book shows us how to do this is to do a second reaction with the reductive amination. So for example, you could react the amine we just created with a second aldehyde. I'll call this aldehyde R prime, and catalytic acid along with sodium cyanoborohydride. And we should be able to go from this primary amine down to a new secondary amine. And so the new group that we have here, meaning this R prime and carbon, is going to come off of this side. And so we're going to just show that right here. And this is the new bond that we've made. Okay, and so by doing this, we're actually able to make a secondary amine quite easily, but really we can't do this very easily using any other way. So let's label this. We'll say this is how we can make a secondary amine. And then if we want to make a tertiary amine, we could do something similar. So just like we saw above, I'm going to call this R double prime. We could react this with an aldehyde or a ketone, along with sodium cyanoborohydride. And we can go all the way to our tertiary amine. So our original group that we had on there is still there, but now what we've done is we've added in this entire new group because this was on our aldehyde that we added in. So this is a good way of making a new tertiary amine. Okay, so let's label this. We can go to our tertiary amine. And now the question is, well, what if we want to get to our quaternary amine? Meaning, what if we want to add on a fourth alkyl group? Well, we can't use reductive amination, unfortunately. However, in this case, we might as well just do that SN2 chemistry using our alkyl halide. Oops, I forgot my double prime there. So what I would do is make my R triple prime with my leaving group. And when I do this, I should be able to completely get to a new quaternary ammonium salt. And in this case, this whole group right here, we don't have to worry about over-alkylating because we're purposely trying to do that. It'll just get installed right there. All right, so let's box this up. And then we've got a nice flowchart created for showing how we can go from anything from a primary amine to a secondary amine to a tertiary amine to a quaternary amine. Or actually, I should say quaternary ammonium salt. All right, so hopefully this is helpful as a study aid. What we'll do next in our following video is we'll look at the reactivity we can do with these amines beyond just making higher ordered amines. All right, good luck studying.